Travelling. Munich. Munich's a city in southern Germany. It's the third biggest city in the country by population after Hamburg and Berlin. And it's the capital of Bavaria, the proud, wealthy and beer-loving state which tends to be considered as one of the nicest in Germany. Munich's a lovely city. There are a fair few things to visit and see, but the distances between them are comfortably manageable, allowing one to see the majority of them in a weekend or in 3 or 4 days. It's a modern city, quite cosmopolitan, but downtown, that's where you'll find a lot of traditional architecture. The cathedral, the town hall, and close to the town hall there's the Viktualienmarkt market, where one can buy a fair few different kinds of products, fresh fruit, meats from the many butchers and chocolates. You can opt to eat in the restaurants, or alternatively you have the option of standing up at the bar and drinking something. It's a lively place and you should visit it. You can also get handmade things or a souvenir, which, frankly speaking, I'm not that bothered about. I'm not a fan of seeing souvenir shops on every corner, side street, main street of the city. Kinda loses its charm. With all this area being pedestrian, it's beyond nice for a stroll or walk around. Close to the city centre, you can visit the Olympic Park, maybe 10 minutes on the underground. Constructed to be ready for the 1972 Summer Olympic Games, there you can find a memorial for the civilian victims of World War II and another memorial for the victims of the terror attacks at the 72 Olympic Games, where, if you remember, 11 members of the Israeli Olympic team and 1 German police officer were taken hostage and latterly murdered. As far as I'm concerned, it's one of Munich's main tourist attractions, the park, not the memorial. With its huge lake giving a home to ducks and swans, there are also big hills and it's full of leftovers from the Olympic Games. For instance, the Olympic Stadium, swimming pools. It's great for a bike ride or a little stroll, picnic or a ride on the boats, if the weather's nice, that is. Even though the Olympic Park's big, it's not the biggest park in Munich. That title belongs to the gigantic English Garden, which is even bigger than Central Park in New York. You can get there walking north from the centre. There's a massive beer garden. Paulaner beer is really something special. You can also try Weiss beer, but I'm not a big fan of Weiss beer. The English Garden has a lovely vibe, with people sat on the many tables and benches drinking and laughing with friends. People actually go surfing too in the river stream, and also you shouldn't be surprised to see a tiny bit of nudity too, especially if the weather's half decent. Near Olympic Park, standing tall and proud, is the BMW Plant. You can take a tour and the ticket cost me €8 if I remember correctly. You can see some ridiculously expensive models. The museum will show you the history of the BMW cars and brand. The building itself's a truly beautiful thing to see if modern architecture's your cup of tea. It's very impressive. Talking of cups of tea, if you don't like something in English, you might say, it's not my cup of tea. In Germany, perhaps not surprisingly, they say, that's not my beer. A lot of folk told me prior that German food was awful, but I'm not having any of that rubbish. I loved it. The food I tried was cracking. Of course, you have the typical sausages such as the bratwurst, but I also found the pretzels great. They had this slow roasted pork too that was served to me with a knife stuck in it, as though to prove its succulence. And a dumpling, which was also great. There's also something that looks sort of like pasta, but it's not really pasta. It's not a dumpling either. I'm not really sure what it was, but it's nice. It was called spatzel. There was the schnitzel also, which was a bit like a milanesa. As I said prior, the beer's great. In fact, Munich is well known for its Oktoberfest. Löwenbrau's everywhere in Munich, and it's a great beer with a huge history. The Löwenbräu house allegedly started brewing beer around 1383. I have to say that Paulaner's my preferred German beer. I could drink it all day. It's really easy to drink, even though it has a 5.5 alcohol percentage, which can be quite a dangerous mix. You can enjoy both of these beers at Oktoberfest. Strictly only Munich beers are allowed to be served there, but if you don't go during September and October, you can enjoy a big jug of Paulaner, not at all like those small Spanish cañas, in the many beer halls of Munich. The beer halls are lovely buildings with long tables and sometimes filled with the sound of live music. The weather while we were in Munich was near on perfect, sunny and warm. However, when we decided to see the Noschstein Castle, you may not recognise the name, but if you have a quick look on the internet, you'll recognise the castle instantly. It's an incredible white castle built on top of a hill in the middle of a big forest and mountains. It's magnificent. My friend told me before I went that when she saw the castle, she demanded that her boyfriend propose to her in front of it. Such was the beauty of it. So I was really looking forward to seeing the castle. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't exactly the same in Munich as in Neuschwanstein. It was absolutely bucking it down. We couldn't even see the castle. I was so disappointed. Crossing the German border into Austria, there's a gorgeous city called Salzburg, just 90 odd miles from Munich. Salzburg's like a fairy tale with its Baroque architecture. Everything's pretty and you can tell that it has a rich past. We went there on the train, which was totally empty, so we thought to ourselves, well, we have an almost empty train, we might as well sit in business class, mightn't we? You know, we had an economy ticket, but business class is a little bit nicer, isn't it? When the ticket man came, we tried to act like the typical ignorant tourist, you know, like that we had no idea about the ticket, we can't understand. He didn't believe anything we said and told us that unless we shift, we'll be kicked off the train. And we moved back to economy with our tails between our legs. Munich's lovely, full of wonderful excursions close by. It's not as frantic as other bigger cities, and that cool, tranquil vibe really gives it a nice, warm, welcome feel.